The Super 1 National Kart Championship is brought to you by Ford, Slick 50, Hillhouse Hammond and Formula TKM. Welcome to the Shennington circuit between Banbury and Stratford-upon-Avon, deep in Shakespeare country, from whence the line, "My kingdom for a horse inspired so many." But things have changed. The cry these days might well be "My kingdom for a kart," or even a glider, for both dominate the tiny village. We're here though for the karting, round 1 of the Super 1 National Championship. Around 150 competitors making it some occasion. But before all that gets underway, let's find out how it all fits together with Graham Butterworth. Where does karting fit into the motor racing pyramid?
Well, of course, it is the first step on the ladder to higher things in motor racing. So many of today's top Grand Prix drivers, world champions like Michael Schumacher, Nigel Mansell, of course, the late Ayrton Senna, they all started in karting. It really is the first foothold to success.
Karting then, so long the whipping boys of motorsport, but no more. Speeds of up to 150 kilometres an hour and a highly professional setup have seen to that. This is a Shennington track where battle will be done. 2 days of numerous practices, heats, and every opportunity to win is offered to everybody. There is little to indicate any possible winners though on day 1. That was a wet affair, and efforts were concentrated on setting up the machinery in case it stayed that way. But it was all in vain, as so often happens with the fickle English weather. Sunday's a different day, and it's time for us to catch up with a ray of sunshine taking on the boys at their own game. Catherine Legg from Hazelmere, a successful junior, moves up to seniors this year and talks about her ambitions.
Well, we were on holiday in Tenerife when I was about 9, and my dad had a go. And so we came back to England. He was like, "Yeah, let's go karting." So he started racing, and I said, "Can I have a go?" So let me have a go in a little cadet kart, and it just went on from there, really.
Was it an instant thing with you?
Yeah, it was a good buzz. I enjoyed it.
You're the only girl here. I mean, does that bother you?
It used to, but I think I've earned some respect now. So I think it bothers them more than it bothers me.
Presumably they don't move over when they see you coming up behind.
I don't know. Exactly the opposite. They're aiming for me, I think. I was the girl would beat her easily. And when I started in cadets when I was about 10, they were started coming in crying when I used to beat them, and they're like, "You've been beaten by a girl." So yeah.
Where do you hope this is going to finish up?
Well, I want to work my way through like Formula Ford and up to touring cars hopefully in the future.
Let's talk then a little bit about this championship, this weekend in particular. Things not going quite so well for you so far. Can you tell us about that?
No, we've had a few problems with the engine and the carburettor. We're not really sure what it is. We've got yet to find that problem. It's I don't know, it's just flat, it just won't pull, so we've got to sort that out before I intend to do any good this weekend.
Okay, all that aside then, I mean, you're expecting to finish quite high in the championship?
Well, yeah, I'd hope to. I finished 4th last year in junior TKM, so hopefully it'll be even better this year if we can get our fingers out.
But it wasn't a good start. Catherine reduced to spectating as she battled for the lead early in the TKM B final. And this is what happened. Grinding to a halt on lap 5. Let's look at that again. And it's number 68, Oliver Allwood, who delivers the knockout blow after that spin from Catherine put her in his path. But she wasn't the only one. This little coming together cost both Ryan Smith 64 and Philip Hogg 69 valuable places. And a little nudge coming up from Jodie Whitmore 55, putting Richard Hughes in a flat spin. Doubtful the message there was 2 laps to go. Oh, back on the track, but definitely not amused. That was earlier in the B final. This is the A final, the one that decides the podium. The grid order: number 2, Damien Tigwell on pole. By his side, number 9, Terry Langley. Then it's Jay Howard, 76. Ashley Todd, 11. Stuart Campbell, 87. James Gleed, 38. Philip Charles, number 1 reigning champion, only 7th. Ahead of 63, James Steeran. David Morris, 16. And 25, David Wright, who completes the top 10. As they stream in to complete lap 1 out of 14. So Tigwell leads ahead of Howard Langley, who's dropped 1 place to 3rd already. Todd holds his pole position 4th, just from Stuart Campbell though. Tigwell under pressure here. Howard takes a look and slips in magnificently at Cafe Corner. Super skills from the junior graduate. He leads down the Stratford Straight and into runway. Howard, Tigwell, Langley, Todd and the rest right there. Let's take another look at the way Jay Howard did Damien Tigwell. The number 2 right out of sorts here. Leaves a chasm for Jay Howard to aim at, and he was on the ball. This is the lead. We must assume that Tigwell has some sort of mechanical problem, because that's Langley up on Howard, and Langley goes through. Howard looking for the immediate strike back. Clips the curve, and right in position to repeat a dose of the medicine he dished out to Tigwell on lap 2. But not this time. Langley wise on that one. He was watching from behind last time. And this is how it changed at Hanger Corner, running towards Wilkins. Langley with a crucial burst gets himself inside Howard before they break. Is then able to push the leader wide, leaving himself enough track to accelerate away around the hairpin. But it's not all over. Howard's experience from junior days keeps the pressure on and sets up the opportunity again at Cafe. Chicane, lap 10, and still Terry Langley spurns the advances of Jay Howard, but Howard continues lining him up. Now this might be interesting. Howard moves up and goes back into the lead. His patience rewarded, and psychologically the timing is absolutely brilliant with just 3 laps to go. And here come the pack. 71 is Harry Sodden, 87 is Campbell, number 2 is Tigwell, back up to 5th. James Steeran, 63 is 6th, and Philip Charles, number 1, 7th. And this is a relentless drive from Harry Sodden, grid 11th on a dry track in a quality field. Says much about the youngster's energy and aggression. And Tigwell there, up to 4th. And he might get 3rd out of that. But no chance realistically now, I think, of any of them catching 1st or 2nd. Into the chicane for the final time. Jay Howard, 76, leads number 9, Terry Langley. One final opportunity for the man from Hinkley to steal this one. Takes it wide, will go for the cut inside, but it's not there. Jay Howard, right on line, extinguishes that challenge and wins round 1 of the Slick 50 Formula TKM National Championship. So to the scoreboard. And that's how it finished up. Jay Howard from Terry Langley. Harry Sodden finished with that 3rd. Damien Tigwell got back to 4th. Stuart Campbell was 5th. And James Gleed 6th. So let's talk to the man with the Midas touch in last year's championship. Number 1, Bobby Game.
You got your first race out of the way today. You won that, but there's a few right behind you.
Yes, something changed a little. We changed a little thing on the kart basically, just to try, and it wasn't as good as what we thought it would be. So it's back to the normal setup from time practice, and off we go again.
Yeah, because you actually went down to 2nd place at one stage.
Yeah, it was very early on. So I mean, the kart took a while for the tyres to start to work. So I mean, our fastest lap was the last lap. So I mean, it needs to come on a bit sooner than that, really.
Well, the best is yet to come today.
We hope so.
And it did indeed get better and better for Game. He went into the first final comfortably ahead of Simon Short, Paul Ozanne, Graham Melville, David Eden and Dean Hawkey. This was lap 1, and Game carrying on where he left off in 1996 ahead of Short, Ozanne and Melville, with Wright moving up from his grid 7th to occupy 5th. Dean Hawkey was 6th, Eddie Mendel 7th, Robert Jenkinson 8th, David Griffiths 9th and Daniel Hazelwood was in 10th. Not so lucky though for 97, David Eaton, forced to sit this one out. And things not going too well for Dylan Battistini, mixing it with Eddie Mendel, proving a lethal cocktail. Meanwhile up front, Game continued to enjoy the luxury of a 3-metre lead over Short. Although Wright by now had established his right to third. Dean Hawkey moving decisively from 6th was haunting him all the way. And behind them, Melville and Ozan were locked in similar combat. The rerun of Dylan Battistini proved he was a little unfortunate, rolling over the back wheel of Eddie Mendel and then being thrown up by the momentum of the front. That was unlucky. By lap 10, the order was still Game, Short and Wright, with Hawkey now under siege from Melville and Ozan. David Griffiths was on his own in 7th. And Chris Cook was 8th, having started in grid 15. On the same lap, Eddie Mendel reappeared, having missed 4 laps following his brush with Battistini, that was clearly well off the pace. But in fairness, it was a searing pace. Game with a short shadow, still looking continually over his shoulder, down the hanger straight for the final occasion, doing just enough to stay in front. The lead never more than 6 metres, but totally in control. And he went on to win with some ease, with Simon Short in 2nd. Then it was Dean Hawkey from James Wright, Paul Ozan and David Griffiths. And Chris Cook, from a long way back on the grid, puts himself in reasonable shape for the 2nd final. And the confirmation, a great start for Game, a timely confidence booster for stablemate Simon Short, but no place for Melville. He went off at the last. This then was the final grid of the day. No major surprises apart from Melville. He goes 16th after that untimely exit. This is it then, the final showdown of round 1 of the Hillhouse Hammond RAC MSA British Kart Championship. The warm-up lap will precede the green lights in a race that promises to be a great deal closer than final 1. Down the hanger straight, into hanger corner, maintaining the grid positions. It's then into Wilkins corner. The power goes on. And green is for go. On board immediately with Dylan Battistini. He's on the track this time. Game leads, Short 2nd. And Wright has slipped inside Hawkey. He goes 3rd. Chicane, Game leads. And Hawkey has retaken Wright, followed by Ozan, Griffiths, Trott and McFadden. Coming into the end of lap 1 of 14, Game, confident, leads, but a furious battle will keep him on his toes. It's bumper to bumper on the Shennington track behind him. Battistini stuck in the pack, all the inertia, but none of the gap. Putting the pressure though on Eddie Mendel. They met in the last race, you might recall. And some way back on Game, he's going like a train in the early laps, maintaining a couple of length lead over the rest. Just staying out of trouble while Short, Wright, Hawkey, Griffiths and Trott scrap it out for 2nd. And this is some battle. Less than 2 seconds separate the 5, and it's Hawkey continually nudging the back of Short, and Wright in turn nudging him. That's keeping it all on the boil. Battistini now past Mendel, attacking Nick Jest, and through him, breaks hard to avoid Darren Williams 23. He's the next target, but all eyes on 2nd because Wright is past Hawkey and breathing down the neck of Short. And it's still a short neck at hanger. Hawkey hasn't given up, and neither has Griffiths. It couldn't be closer, and the important thing is they're all getting closer to Game. Battistini yet to get the better of Darren Williams. Even so, he's up to 7th. Meanwhile, we can take another look at Wright versus Short, chased by Hawkey and Griffiths. Wright at times all over the back at number 7. What gaps there are narrow. A That's a super scrap. Leader, end of lap 9, and Short surely from fear of losing second has found a little extra, moves right up on the back of Game, right follows. Hawkey's in there, so is Griffiths. And Cook, 55, moves up to 6th from 15th. Battistini storming it. Williams has fallen, Melville could be next. Game, Short, right, Hawkey, Griffiths, could it be closer? Into the chicane. And Game once more looks over his shoulder, and well he might, because Short is having a good look. Moves right up and almost got inside Game there. Wheel for wheel they drive, absolutely magnificent. Hawkey too, not to be left out. Attacks right, Griffiths, Cook and Ozan are next. And it's Melville, Battistini and McFadden making up the top 12. Bobby Game led on every lap in final 1, every lap so far here in final 2. But in the closing stages he's under increasing pressure. Oh, there's a collision there, involving whom I know not. Top 4 though I do know. Game, Short, Wright and Hawkey. And once again it's Game who's forced to soak up the pressure applied. He's lost his line there, and Short sweeps through into the lead. Game though, on the comeback. Wright closes in, Hawkey closes in, stunning stuff. Let's take another look, and you wouldn't put money on a way through here until Game drifts slightly offline, and Short on hand seizes the opportunity. Classic karting. Back on the track, and the tourniquet this time around is applied to Short, the pace increasing. Game attacks, and Game is back. Wright goes second. No, Short holds on, and Hawkey watches with some interest, I'm sure. The way things are, his turn could be next. But it's as you were, Game, Short, Wright and Hawkey. What priceless moments here on a stunning weekend. And this is why Bobby Game is champion. The shortcut is clinical, the element of surprise classical. Too much for Simon Short, who almost loses second to James Wright. But no time to get your breath back here. 3 laps remain, and you get the feeling there could yet be another twist to this tale. Short, Wright and Hawkey almost locked together, still in pursuit of the champion, whose lead extends to a fragile couple of metres. Cook is 5th, Griffiths 6th, Ozan 7th. There they were. And while we concentrated up front, this is Battistini continuing his progress with 2 laps to go. It's the end of the penultimate lap 2 for the nose-to-tail formation at the front. The gap between Game and Short is lessening, and most of the time it's impossible to detect a gap at all between Short and Wright. Last lap. Justin Blockley, 28, begins his lonely walk home though. There's Battistini, still having quite a day. Started grid 21st, has driven his heart out. His sculpts include David Eaton, Eddie Mendel and the highly rated Graham Melville. This is for 8th. The obstacle is Alistair Weston. And Battistini moves in. No problem, he goes 8th. End of the same straight. Game stays first. The chicane safely negotiated for the final time. The hungry pack still snap. Short, head down, foot down. One last opportunity to grab the glory. But Game's been here many times before. He digs in. Short, Wright and Hawkey almost collide. And Bobby Game wins the first round of the Hillhouse Hammond Formula A Championship by a whisker. Simon Short is second, James Wright third, Dean Hawkey fourth, and Chris Cook fifth, David Griffiths sixth. Well, no one could say that wasn't good value for money. Doubtful whether Bobby Game is taking too much for granted in his bid for back-to-back titles. Although it was top of the pile here, and he is favourite to repeat the 1996 success, it is destined surely to be the hard way.